I really want to explain what spirituality is from my own perspective because I find that in this day and age, the whole concept has become somewhat convoluted. There's a lot of fluff, there's a lot of misconceptions, and people are beginning to form this idea that spirituality is some sort of practice, that it's some sort of set belief that you must have or you must cultivate. And it's creating some sort of separation because people think, oh, you need to be meditating every day and you need to be doing yoga and doing these practices to be spiritual, which has lost all meaning because everyone is spiritual. It doesn't matter what you believe, it doesn't matter how you live your life, it doesn't matter if you are an atheist or not. We are all inherently spiritual beings. We all have a soul. We all have a deeper source of our consciousness, of our existence, and spirituality is really the recognition that you are more than your body. It is the path of trying to understand. It is the path of trying to find meaning in our lives and to be seeking out wisdom, to be seeking out knowledge, to be seeking out understanding about why we are experiencing what we are experiencing, why we are, why we have these lives. Why are you here on this planet experiencing this? What is this? Do you ever spend time really thinking about what is actually going on here? And if you really dig into it and you go deep enough into these existential thoughts, you might come to the conclusion that life is a very strange phenomenon. And we don't understand it, even through all of our instruments and measurements, through science. We don't understand why we are here. Sure, we have theories, we have ideas, we try and create the most plausible explanation to, just orientate ourselves and to make sense of this existence. But in the grand scheme of things, we don't know why we are here. We don't know why the universe came to creation. Like, the leading theory for this is that the universe just came out of nothing. A Big Bang happened, right? But under our current scientific model, does this make sense that the entire universe came from a singularity? So, if you really start to look at science with your rational mind as well, not just your intuition, not with your heart, you'll start to see that all we have are theories and ideas. And even the leading theories about why we are here and what we're doing here are fundamentally flawed. We don't know a lot of things about our immediate proximity. We don't know a lot of things about our own planet, about humanity, about our brains. There is so much that we don't know. And this is what is very fundamental to understand. The fact that we don't know. Because if you acknowledge that we really know nothing, then this sets you on a path of doing the inner exploration. To really embrace life for what it is, you need to do the inner exploration. You need to soul search. You need to go deeper into your own consciousness to really start asking yourself the big questions about what we're doing here. You are not experiencing consciousness through someone else's perspective. You don't know what consciousness looks like to anyone else. You don't know how foreign it is to your own experience. So how can you truly know that other people even exist? How do you even know that you exist? How do you know that this isn't just some sort of dream that you are experiencing? Because I'll tell you what, the years are ticking by and you are getting older. And the more time that goes past, the more real it becomes. The more you see that, wow, life is a very transitory phenomenon and maybe there is more to this because life really is just a blip. The same way that this universe is just a blip. There's a lot more information that we can tap into, and this is the role that different religions and existential beliefs have played to try and understand what is happening. So every religion, in my opinion, has some truth in it. Every religion has some sort of truth, even though there might be a lot of falsities and misconceptions and indoctrination. There's a dark side as well. And you need to consider the fact that different religious scripts, like the Bible, like the Quran, they've been edited, they've been altered over time. So what do we really know about the original teachings from Jesus, from Buddha, from Muhammad, from whoever had these mystical experiences that we are trying to learn from? But what I understand from this is that these were just people who had some extraordinary experiences. These were people on a journey of understanding to the point that they did experience something completely otherworldly, and they left their philosophies, they showed other people their paths, but there is not one single path. And this is where religion is fundamentally wrong, because a religion teaches that there is only one path to cultivate this connection into soul, into the true essence of your consciousness, but there are many different paths. And there is no right way to do it, there is no wrong way to do it. Some people will, follow religion. Other people will spend their lives meditating. You have monks in monasteries that have dedicated their lives to meditating and going inwards into their consciousness instead of going outwards. You have gurus and sages who have an incredible breadth of information and knowledge and wisdom, who share their understandings and their teachings. You have shamans who practice, connecting with different energies and entities via plant medicines, via different set of practices. But these are all just different pathways to the same universal realm. Everything is just a pathway into the same realm of consciousness that we are all inherently tied into. And the source of consciousness goes by many different names, most notably God. But depending on the belief system or the pathway or the religion, we understand God as source. We understand it as ultimate reality. And then from my own beliefs, from my own experiences, especially through shamanic traditions that I spent some time working with, through energy healing, through astral projection and meditation, through exploring my reality by traveling the world for 7 years, what I have discovered is that it doesn't matter. So spirituality can really be a paradox, because when we are, curious and intrigued and we are trying to understand the nature of our existence, so we start going down these different pathways, we listen to different beliefs and cultures and practices and we try them ourselves, and a lot of the time nothing happens, we don't get anywhere. Sometimes we do have experiences that do blow our mind and we're like, wow, okay, that was very different, but I still don't know what it means. But there is no right way to do it. There is no right way to be a human, to be a spiritual being. And perhaps if we really follow that pathway and see where it leads us, we will realize that we are all the same consciousness experiencing oneself in an infinite number of ways. This is what I believe to be existence. And when you die in this body, this is just a tiny blip of an endless sea of experience. Some experiences might be extremely blissful to the point you can't comprehend. And again, different religions and belief systems have a name for this state of consciousness. Heaven, paradise, nirvana, bliss. Then there are also very dark, miserable realms where there's a lot of suffering. And again, we have names for this. Hell. But these are constructs. These are experiences of consciousness. I don't believe that heaven or hell are places in the sense that we understand. I believe that heaven and hell are experiences of consciousness where you can experience hell on this planet. Many of us have, at least to some extent. And you can also experience heaven on this planet through high vibrations such as love and gratitude, and experiences that are just extremely profound. But either way, the more that you explore your own reality and you try to cultivate your own understanding of why you are here, the more you may start having experiences that really start to defy logic. Because you will start tapping into things eventually that are more real than this experience of consciousness that you're having in this universe. And I've had quite a few experiences that felt like much more vivid than life. When I was undergoing these experiences in these dimensions and these places through astral projection, through meditation, through shamanic ceremonies, they felt more real than what this reality feels to me. So what does that do? That makes me even more curious. That makes me want to explore even more, because I'm finally stumbling upon gold here, and I'm finally actually experiencing something otherworldly that does defy explanation. So there is clearly information out there that we don't know and we can't even comprehend. Maybe in 100 years, in 1,000 years, in 1,000,000 years, if the human genus goes in the right direction and we continue advancing and evolving, these realms will become second nature to us. We'll be able to go in and out seamlessly. Our consciousness will be separable from our bodies. Like, we're really getting into some pretty sci-fi shit when you think 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years into the future. Like, think about 20 years ago, we barely had phones, we barely had computers. Could you imagine what we have now 20 years ago? Now imagine thousands of years in the future. Our understanding of reality will be absolutely different. Do you think the current laws of science and the current theories will still be a thing 1,000 years in the future? Or will we have a completely different understanding of what reality is? But it seems that we are just starting to catch up with some of our ancient wisdom. The people before us weren't distracted by science. They weren't distracted by technology and screens. So they had an advantage in a sense, because life was simpler in a way. There wasn't as much of a divide between the physical and the ethereal. But that divide is slowly starting to dissolve. We are starting to enter new realms and new territories of consciousness, of reality, of this experience. And if you look into quantum physics, you look into, the latest advancements of science, it's on the same page. I think most scientists nowadays would believe that there are other dimensions, that there are other realms of consciousness, that there are spirits, that there is something out there that is beyond what we can perceive, beyond what we can see. But it takes not looking outwards to understand that. It requires you to go inwards. It requires you to explore yourself and your own reality. So embrace this journey while you are on this planet, because it goes by quickly, and explore. Explore your reality. Explore who you are. Explore what you are. Try different practices. follow different doctrines. Experiment. Do what you can do to cultivate a deeper connection with yourself and go further into your consciousness, because there is no more exciting place to be than in your own consciousness. And when we really start getting into the crevices of our own consciousness, you'll find that it's very expansive. You'll start to experience things that are beyond us, that can't be explained by our conventional science. But they can be explained by our conventional wisdom. They can be explained by tradition. And this is why we seek teachers. This is why we seek people who actually have some sort of understanding of reality beyond this reality. Because we don't get taught this. This isn't in our school systems. Even if governments know about it, they're not going to tell us. Why would they tell us that there's other realms of existence and we are God? Why would they tell us that? So you need to discover it yourself and keep an open mind. And by keeping an open mind and actually going inwards to try and discover it yourself, then that is when you start to hit gold. Because life becomes very mundane when we don't explore our own consciousness and we don't really test the waters of this life experience. We don't see what this could potentially be and how we can make it the most incredible experiences that it could be. So do what feels good for you. Follow your curiosity, follow your interests, and just take this life for a ride. And if you do that, well done, you're doing spirituality. It's not about meditating for 3 hours a day. It's not about having some strict routine or rules or doctrines that you need to follow. Spirituality is just about being a human being and enjoying the human experience, and going up and going down and going through all the wild emotions and experiences that we can have here, and embracing it. Just embrace this experience of being a human, because it's an exciting thing. At least it can be an exciting thing. It can also be a very mundane thing if you don't explore yourself. So veer away from that. Go towards exploring yourself. Have fun with this life.